Let's start the meeting.
Select Board's meeting, Tuesday, November 19th, 2019. In attendance, Mr. Fox, Mr. Mogul, Mr. Deedy, Mr. Steinhardt, and Mrs. Pendleton.
Thank you, and welcome to the Select Board meeting for Tuesday, November 19th, 2019. The first thing we have is people that would like to make a comment to the board. This is your opportunity if you're not on the agenda. So is there anyone here that would like to make a statement to the board? Okay, then we are going to go right into taking care of a few things before we meet with the fire chief and deputy chief. All right, so payables, to acknowledge payables warrant number 2014B dated 11/18/19 in the amount of, and I got a blank. Somebody have the amount?
$1,052,831.92.
Okay, thank you. And then it looks like we just need a motion for regular session minutes of 11/12/19.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. All right, then we can go to action item number 1, and we reviewed the town of Southwick job description for custodian, and we reviewed 2A, which is the job description for maintenance. So this is our second reading. Anybody have any problems with either one of them?
I don't.
Could I have a motion for 1A and 2A?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. How are we coming along with the job descriptions?
There's 2 or 3 more of them out with some different boards and committees, and council's got 3 or 4 more they're developing.
Okay. All right, 3A is from Lake Management Committee. It's the pay for the upcoming year, 2020 boat ramp attendance and maintenance pay rate. And I think it reflects the minimum wage going up in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts by 75 cents, January 1st. So I believe we shouldn't have any problems with this. I'll need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Usually wait for the ice to freeze on the lake before we talk about next year, but that's it.
Well, the Commonwealth took care of it, they're automatically giving everybody a raise. 4A, we are invited.
You are invited. Where you going?
What was that?
Where you going?
Well, this is where I'm bringing that bottle
Oh,
of
we need you for
champagne
this.
Oh,
to
do you?
smash
Where
it
we going?
over some
Yeah.
tower, you know, that's going to be dedicated.
No.
I don't smash a bottle of champagne.
Not this time.
We're gonna push it in, I heard. And they needed our half.
Okay, and that,
The old truck was
the
gonna find.
dedication will be for Tower 5, November 25th at 7 p.m., which is next Monday. So don't bring a bottle of champagne.
Sorry.
Okay.
You don't have an alcohol permit for there, no.
Oh, okay.
Out of
All right,
Everybody
FY,
going?
yeah, could you
Remind you.
remind the 3 of us?
So Monday.
Please, Monday.
Put it in.
Okay.
7 o'clock.
5A is from the DPW. It's concerning a sewer abatement. Has it been approved?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we're acting as sewer
Somewhere
commissioners
there was a
Yeah.
sticky.
on
I
an
don't know if
abatement
someone
for
touched the sticky.
35 Sefton
Who's got
Drive.
the sticky?
Okay.
So
In the amount of,
the water commissioners approved the 140 something?
143.22.
That's the sewer share. The water commissioner's number is different because their rate structure is different.
Right.
So their
Oh,
abatement's
yeah.
different. So it's not the same as the sewer commission.
okay. So do we have a sewer abatement of $143.22? Okay. And that's again for 35 Sefton Drive. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll sign it. Cindy, here, take that. And take that. And I'll pass this over to Doug. You can sign now, please.
Do we have to put the amount in, or?
They'll fill in the blank.
Christie was gonna put it in.
All right, Joe, you want to sign that? Sure. I think he left you on
So
that
the
one.
motion was for the 143.22.
Yes, thank you.
That's perfect. All right, 6A is a letter from Pioneer Valley Planning, and this is a community block grant, I believe?
Yeah, there's a series of meetings and hearings that are gonna need to come in and start doing so. We have not finalized our schedule past December, so we need to do a January, February schedule so that we can let Cindy know, the staff know, department heads know, and Erica know, so that we can start scheduling these other meetings, because I know you generally like to have the police and fire and DPW also come in and do budget previews.
Correct.
So the board needs to set those meeting dates for January and February.
Okay, once we set those, then we can fill in the blanks
We
here
can
with
start
Erica
scheduling all these people.
Johnson, Pioneer Valley Planning.
Right,
Okay?
because Joe and I had met with her about the,
Yeah.
the next grant round.
All right, and she's looking at like 20 minutes each, and she's thrown out 3 different occasions to meet.
Which would be fine, because you're not gonna meet New Year's Eve, so you'd be meeting the 6th, that's pretty logical, that one.
Yeah.
So,
All right, so why don't we...
well,
hold-
yeah, I told her we meet on Tuesdays, so it'll be, whether it's the 6th or the 7th, that'll be fine.
Why don't we hold off and we'll work on that after we meet with the chief and things like that, okay?
Yep. Maybe you can just.
All right.
Back down.
So it looks like it's close enough, and we've left the chief wants to get home, deputy chief wants to get home, so come on up.
Bad chair, they get new ones.
You can switch chairs.
I'm fine. You need something? Didn't sync on that?
No.
Thought I said you that.
Bless you.
It's gotta be that chair then.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you wanna, I don't know if you've had a chance to go through, you wanna go through rough page by page?
Yep.
Yep.
Review? Okay, so, if you look at our billing rates on page 1, this is a comparison from our billing company that basically breaks it out in 3 different sections. Our current rate, which is in green, the local surrounding billing company, or surrounding departments that Comstar has for billing. So that's kind of a Hampden County-ish related billing.
Geographical area.
Geographical area. And then the, what they call their top 50 across the state, but that's heavily skewed for
Eastern.
the islands, et cetera. So you can see that we have BLS rate, ALS1, and ALS2. And you can see our rates are considerably less than our neighbors, so to speak.
What's the difference between ALS1 and ALS2?
How many interventions happen? So if you
Okay.
give an IV, if you give a couple drugs,
Okay.
they have we do a bundled rate, so it includes oxygen, includes certain things. So
Dog bites, it's all.
it depends
All
what you
that.
need, right?
Come on. Come on.
The
Deputy
first page,
chief,
the first page, you got that out.
the deputy chief suffered a bite too,
That's right.
okay? So
Yeah.
let's,
So it is
like
another
taking
one
on
of our firefighters too.
Sir, in the same area?
No.
let's take it down a notch.
Carry
Well,
suits of
you
armor
did.
in the- There are no suits of armor in the.
We're trying.
All right, no more dog jokes.
Mr. Chairman, I give this to you. We rarely need it.
So you can see our rates are running, depending on which one you pick, 20-ish to 30% below those rates around us. And again, our rates were set in 2013, the last time.
I think the last time I did it with your brother and Carl and the vendor,
Okay.
right? Okay.
And now the difference, back then is you were studying the ALS system. Now you actually
Have
have
it,
it, implementing it actively, and you really want to make sure that you're appropriately cost recovering your expenses for that, just like the other communities are.
Okay.
So you don't set the base rate and then it just automatically sets the other two. Every one is different.
Yeah, you set your rate, but it does, an ALS1 and ALS2 would go up.
Just percentage wise.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so we worry about the base rate.
Yes.
And the rest follows.
Yep.
Okay.
And then separate from that, on the next page is our mileage charge. So that is not included in the ambulance rate. it's a separate, separate bill, whether we go to Westfield, Springfield, wherever we go, there's a per mile charge in that as well. And again, you can see the difference between our rates versus local in the top 50.
Right, wow.
I don't think we've ever set that rate, though, that you guys set that, right? The mileage
I'm
rate?
not sure how.
I don't ever recall.
I don't ever recall.
Well, it's so old, I think it was just done the first time and it's just
You
been.
might have
that
just
way.
done a percentage and
The first
did it
time.
across everything,
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
which is fine.
Yeah.
So now we look at percentage collected, and in 2015, 2016, we implemented a electronic process instead of faxing things and handling the paperwork. So for now, when an EMT does a chart on a tablet, it goes right electronically and electronically to the billing company. So everything's electronic
Real
processing.
time data.
And you can see what the difference has been over the years with the results as we've cleaned that system up. But with that said, we have the Blue Cross, Medicaid, Medicare, and other insurances, and we're collecting in the 80s to 90s, depending on what you're seeing.
Right.
A little bit of confusion on this is, if you look at Medicare, we're at 94-ish%, but if you take an ALS base rate, our current rate is 1306. Medicare only pays us 466 from that, and that's what they can pay us. So of the Medicare receipts, we're getting 94% of the 466,
Right.
not the 1306.
It's a low, it's sort of capped
Oh, absolutely.
statutorily or by
Mhm.
policy. So you're getting a high collection rate on a low rate.
And we don't chase the difference.
You can't?
You can't, if they
No,
have
no, no,
secondary,
fine,
you
yeah.
can, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know what the percentages of these broken down, how much we're doing for Medicare and how much we're doing?
As far as what our,
Like 25%?
Well, that's,
it's, I think we have it in here.
at one time, the last time we reviewed this with Rick, was I think we were like 74% Medicaid or Medicare, Russ. and
I have
we were
it
26.
transports by insured later on.
Okay, perfect, I think.
What's the double y-axis here? 75 to 105 and 82 to 98.
Number of runs, I believe it left as number of runs and percentage collected
Gotcha.
on the rate.
So, worthy of mentioning, the region itself is developing basically a central port where all the insurance information is kept and processed. So a company like Comstar will have access to what is known as the Pioneer Valley Collaborative for insurance expediting. And so all of our stuff will then be shared information. And this is huge not only because it's just regionally right now, it's expanding. It really has started to see the ripples. So somebody's visiting from Indiana, we have no information on them. That information is now accessible. It's one more step in the process, but it benefits everybody. And the best part is it doesn't cost us anything. It's just out there. It's been put together by the insurance companies, and it's a easy way for us to go and be the first one in line to start to reclaim and some of the billables.
Car accident isn't from town every time,
Right, exactly.
And that's the key
You know,
that's under your PIP insurance. So the first one in to get the bill in
is the first one
and
in.
they
Yeah.
max out, it's gone.
So this has been huge with just,
Sure.
again, just the automated process of getting it there, but now we'll have that insurance information, correct insurance information a lot faster.
Next page is percentage of self-pay collected. So what we're starting to see is self-insured, and kind of what rolls into this is uninsured and large deductibles. So we're finding that, someone might have a $5,000 deductible, we send a bill, they don't pay it. So we'll talk about that later on, but that is becoming a challenge because more and more of the insurance companies with insurance are having higher and higher deductibles.
Yeah.
So, and when you look at the bills that come in, it says direct pay. So it's going directly to the homeowner, if you will, wherever they live.
Yep.
And we'll send 3 bills, 4 bills, and then try to go for collection, no answer. So that we just get, Carl gets them, no response to letters, no response to bills. So they just ignore it. So that's another whole issue that we'll talk about in the end.
Okay.
Total revenue received, you can see from 2014, our peak was in 2017, and back down again in 2018 a little bit. So the trend has increased, our runs have increased, and you know, what the dip is there, I'm not quite sure. We could have had a flu season, so we had a spike. It could have been, you know, a couple different things that happened that one year. But the net return is this is the actual returns. This is not what's actually billed.
Gotcha.
The actual
It's only
collected, the amount
Collected.
collected.
It's in our bank.
It's
Yeah.
only $25,000.
Right. And
Yeah,
I'm
'cause
going
what
with-
This chart's real tight, so
Yeah,
Right.
and some of that's.
What
prob-
happens is you appropriate money in the town budget under the EMS account, and we pay them 3.9% or something like that. And it's only on what's actually collected. So when the bills come in, I get the bill, Jess gets it down the hallway there. They look to see on every single item that Comstar has said that they've paid and collected for us. They confirm it, they check it off, we reconcile it, then I sign off, then they get paid. So the process, there's plenty of checks and balances.
I get that.
Russ had worked under a system before that didn't have those checks and balances, so that was the way the board set it up.
no, I get that. This decline in revenue is not, you'd have to see 19 to see what that means. Because look at 16, the 17 was a very significant
Right.
increase.
And that was when we,
It was $40,000. Right. And then it went down.
Right. So you can add to that public scare for Ebola and other things. So when you're looking at what was collected in 17, a lot of that could have started earlier. So in late 2016, started to show in
'Cause you're-
17.
sometimes
Right,
6
there's a
months to a
lag.
year.
There's
Right.
a lag
And
for
so
the
if you have
collections.
Right,
a
right,
public
right.
health scare and people are more attuned to it and concerned, they'll take the ambulance. Those types of things do show a spike in call
Get it.
volume.
Yeah.
Because remember, we're not gonna know this, they're gonna know because they deal with the HIPAA-related stuff, we are outside of that.
Oh, I understand that. I was just saying that I wouldn't read a lot into the revenue number
Right.
as
It's
a
an ebb and tide.
It's an
percentage.
anomaly,
Yeah, yeah,
it's an
not a big
anomaly
number.
at this point.
Total transports for self-pay, you can see that we're, 16, we were around 20-ish, and then jump up to 50, back down to 35. So again, we're seeing those people that aren't insured, have that self-pay, that first section of deductible. So that continues to increase with everything going on in them.
And how many runs do you do a year, chief? 1,000?
So we do about 1,000 runs, but we do, I got it in here somewhere, we do
Yeah.
969 calls versus 641 transports. So we're only billing for transports. So
So when you think about yourself, these total transports, how much of a percentage out of your great universe, they're a small percentage.
they are, maybe 5 to 10%.
But that's a trend.
Yeah.
I'd like to
That's
talk to it. Yeah.
the new healthcare financing trends.
Yeah. Again, total transports by insurer, Joe, this is what, I think the one you were looking at. Medicare represents about 60% of our transports.
Okay.
As we know, we have many, communities in the town with over 50, and they've found this a great place to live, and that's
Oh, I hear
the
that,
reality
I
of it.
hear it, yeah, we hear it all the time on the scanner, just,
Yep.
it's amazing what you guys go and do, and now you're telling me you're not getting paid for it, which I get, I do get that, but.
Actually, the Medicare, while it's a reduced rate, they're always paid.
The lift assist and all that stuff?
Not for a lift assist,
Yeah.
but
Right.
surprisingly, we transport probably 60% of our lift assists.
Oh, really?
So,
Wow.
a fall, a hip injury, and
Sure.
things like that, so. There's always a reason they fall, it isn't, sometimes they trip,
Right,
So-
right,
that's why we do.
which we don't hear, right?
Total transports, again, you can see up and down a little bit, 670 to 630, back up to 679, around 640. So it bounces around. So the next, the pie chart part, July to September, 3 months of 2018, we did the 40% ALS calls versus the 60% BLS calls. So when we went out the door, it was driven from EMD versus what information the dispatchers get, and whether or not we need ALS or not, based on that little criteria. Secondarily, if it didn't warrant an ALS, a basic EMT would do an assessment and might need it based on new information. With all that said, we are doing 40% ALS calls. So skip ahead a year, from July 1 when we pulled the trigger on ALS for us, for daytime, it turned to 60% calls are ALS now. versus when we didn't have it ourselves.
Right.
So why do you say? Well, we have the EMD still, but now we have a paramedic doing an assessment and says, I better start an IV.
And you said that would happen.
I
yeah.
better do this. I
Right,
better-
we knew that was gonna happen.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's fallen right into the national averages during those 3 months
Sure.
of where it is. So what does that represent? That also represents a 20% increase in billing because
Right.
we're doing more ALS calls. So from a financial standpoint, there's an increase in income because we're doing that increase in ALS care.
So if you send 2 medics out because there's 2 medics on, but it's a kid sprained his ankle at the baseball game, it's a BLS call? You bill it as a BLS?
Yeah, it can be neither or. So there's a full assessment that's done, and it does have to justify, because insurance companies look at this, they don't want
Sure,
us
they don't,
just
right.
making an ALS call when it's genuinely not an ALS call. It's actually insurance fraud.
Right.
I kind of
So-
led the question. I
Yeah.
just wanted to get that out there for the record,
Yeah.
just because now that
Right.
there's, we have the higher cost
Just
all the
because we're
time
there,
of
it's not
having
there,
the
right.
2 paramedics on and 2
recovery
medics
of
out
it
the
is right
door,
there.
but it still may be a
Right.
BLS call.
And as the
bill it
chief said,
BLS
we were
rate.
right in line with the national indices. The only thing that this doesn't reflect would be any of the ALS2 calls, because that's a smaller finite group of billing, but you'll start to see that will become part of this percentage as well too. But right now, it's just looking at the overall big picture of ALS versus BLS.
Awesome.
Now, how are you finding, because you've commenced this process, you've been personally doing it, how have you found in terms of the average number of runs where you need intercepts from other communities that used to send ALS over?
So
How was
that's,
that
it's actually on the next page,
Oh, okay.
but, and it reflected differently at different times. So we have, fortunately, we're covering as much as we can during the day, but we're also starting to pick up some of the nights, and that will increase as well too as we expand the coverage. So we'll be using less and less of that every single day.
Which
I
was an expense. So now you'll be
Yes.
paying, you
Right,
won't be
you're keeping
paying
it
that
in-house.
expense out to another
Right.
government, and you'll be able to keep those funds in-house to
Right.
pay our expenses.
Right.
Plus, everybody was overly taxed. I mean,
Correct.
Westfield,
There's a lot of times we weren't getting ALS because they
especially
weren't
towards
available.
the end there. Yeah,
And
so
they're still having those issues. So.
Right.
And it's been a big relief for them so much, so when they do
Absolutely.
have to come to the town, they're like, okay, what happened? Why are we here?
Yeah.
Some of them don't fully understand the system just yet.
Of how you're
They're
getting
getting
it,
it, right.
yeah.
And we're, again, trying to cover as much as possible.
So on the next page, it kind of shows you that information from July to September in 18 versus 19. So if you go across 2018, we did 100 BLS calls. Southwick did 0 ALS calls because we didn't have the paramedics.
Right.
Agawam did 1. Westfield did 76 for a total of 43% of were ALS of the 177 calls, of which we paid out $20,900 in intercept fees.
Yep.
So now we go to this July, we throw the trigger on us doing ALS. Southwick did 74 ALS calls, Agawam did 4, Westfield in turn did 38, or 62% of 188%, and we only paid out 11,000 in intercept fees. So it relates to 20% increase in billing plus 50% reduction of what went out to our other towns.
Is that 20% showing an increased level of care as well?
Yes.
If you
Yeah, they're getting interventions that they would not have gotten last time.
In the
Until they get to
20% of the
the
calls
ER.
that didn't go ALS, that probably maybe could have, sort of, should have, might have? Hard to say, but
That,
you know what I
no,
mean?
but that's a safe assumption.
Yeah.
That, yes, that could happen. For whatever reason, that certainly could,
I get
it's
it. No,
justified.
it's great.
Yeah.
And I did read this, but I remember seeing it. Have we started to, before we went to Westfield, now say other towns are coming to us?
you see
Granville,
yourself going to
others.
Granville and
So,
Granville, Collin.
that's a comfort issue right now. We spoke with Granville, and Granville said, we really want you guys to get some traction, get some experience before we start to call you up for the intercepts, which we agreed was a good choice. So we're not getting called for intercepts. If we go mutual aid, we are at the paramedic level, we'll perform at the
Okay.
paramedic level when we go
Right.
mutual aid. We don't have an agreement with them. We do have an agreement with Westfield, which has always been in place. It's just a request for ambulance at the service provided. So if we go in, it would be an ALS service at that point, and the same would be true for Agawam, provided we have that. And they understand that when they call, they're not guaranteed that it'll be a paramedic level.
But with
service.
Westfield, we're way down on the run.
Yeah.
They're typically calling West Springfield first.
Sure,
or
sure.
something else.
Right.
I'm more thinking where, like, the Granvilles or even Suffield or Granby, Connecticut.
Right.
It will
And
happen.
so, yes,
Yep.
And we're not in a rush, because then it ties you guys up too, so,
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I was
Right.
curious if
Look
that's-
We
at
have a
backup.
right to refuse because we only have one ambulance.
right,
But we want to be good neighbors.
Oh,
'cause
absolutely.
They're coming to us too.
Sure,
So-
sure, no, I get it.
yeah.
yeah,
We owe some of them big time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
yes, we do.
So what we did is on the last information, we took and gave a rate change projection. So just to review it, in 2018 was the 328,781. So now that we do ALS, if we increase that 20%, you're at the 394 mark. So then if we in turn, on top of that, increase our rates, we then compound that to, you can see 10%, 20%, and 30% carrying out as to where we want to go with rates, what we want to do with projections.
Even when we're done, we're still subsidizing it through the tax rate. no matter
Oh, yeah.
what.
Yeah, we are.
course.
Yeah,
Debt
taking a good
service.
dent out of it,
That's
but
one of the things that,
Indirect benefits for insurances and all that, so, but the important thing is to do cost recovery. So,
so that's the rate part. We should talk about this first before we go into the abatement process. But
Yeah, but right now, we're about 35% below what local providers
Correct.
are doing.
Correct.
Okay, so, and we haven't touched the rate since 2013. So I think we need to emphasize that.
by the time you put it in, you'd be into 2020, so it'd be 7 years.
Right, right. So, I mean.
And what you built today, you won't see for 6 months to a year.
Right.
Right.
So if we had been doing a regular increase, like we
Correct.
probably should have been doing.
Right. Some places voted in an annual 3% or follow the Medicare.
Right.
Once they're even with Medicare, if Medicare goes up 2%, they follow Medicare.
Oh, the CPI index?
Yeah.
Right.
So, but we're off kilter a little bit. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. All right, so are you gonna make a recommendation out of these three choices that
wanna
you
put it
feel
on me, yeah.
comfortable with?
I said 30%, all right? I just
The
want
press
to
is
be
here,
honest.
so yeah, we gotta
No.
throw it on you, you know.
You said 30, I said 10, so we'll go with 25.
Here's an average.
So it really is, it's about the timeframe of capturing and catching up to the industry standard.
Right,
So assuming that 20% is a safe bet, that we need to at least have that. So the chief and I talked about different plans of what we could do. The chief said 10%, I said 30%. If you don't ask, you don't get. But I think if I had the most favorable one to vote for, it would be 12.5% this year, 12.5% the next year. So that would give you 25% increase over the spread of 2 years with only a recognizable marginal increase each year. Now, if you see fit to do 15% each year for 2 years or 10% for 3 years, obviously, either one of those would get us where we need to be. But I think in 3 years, we're probably still gonna be playing a little bit of catch-up to try to get what other services are billing and what
You'll
we
still be doing the CPI then.
right.
providing the service, right, and still providing the service. Now, all that being said, I think the suggestion that getting in line with Medicare, Medicaid, and then keeping the percentages wherever they go would certainly serve us well. I think from a resident standpoint, that would probably be a justifiable adjustment.
You know, for the most part, it's not seen by
Right.
residents if insured. But as we're finding, there's some that, you know, have to come up with it themselves.
But you got a relief mechanism for that. That's why we
Correct.
have that other system.
Right. Or they have lousy insurance.
No, there's plenty of
They
that.
don't cover dog
It's
bites.
getting expensive. Yeah.
We'll get to that on the next page.
Yeah, 'cause that's a real thing. And I think,
So you're going up $80 a year if you go $80 a year for 3 years, or not basing it on the base, right?
They would all go up that.
No, understood, but
percentage,
right, but realistically, let's look at the base level,
Yeah.
you know, talking percentage wise, 10%.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it goes up $80. But yes, the percentage all the way across goes up, absolutely.
Yes.
Right. I just don't like looking at the other two because we started with the base originally, and that's what we're well aware of, number-wise, 797 for a base run. So if you went up 10%, you're at 8,
70 years.
yeah, 877, 878, and then 10 and 10.
You're still way below what,
No, yeah, no, I'm with you.
Because don't forget, those other rates you're comparing it against right now, they're gonna still continue to be going.
Right,
True,
right.
true.
So you won't have closed the gap.
Well, if we take the recommendation of the 12 and a half over 2 years, and then we
Reevaluate.
revalue, especially since we know we're gonna be growing the program, correct?
Right.
All right, so we're gonna have some hard cost figures of what the town is
And are we
subsidizing.
getting it back or not getting it
Right,
back?
right. So I think it's a reasonable recommendation.
I do too. I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think
10,
we had any
12,
grand
I'm with
illusions
you.
about the ALS paying for itself.
No.
You know,
Right.
this is a
Never did.
service that we're providing to the,
Right.
to the residents
That
of our
the people
town.
want.
And that they want and they
Right,
need.
and they,
Don't
right.
have the economy of
and-
scale.
Well, yeah. I mean, some of
It's
us
not
are
about,
getting
I don't even
older.
think it's about that. I mean, even if you said, forget it, let's merge with Westfield, it wouldn't
Well,
work
other
out, right?
places, they-
You know what I mean? We looked
They
at
make
that.
enough for the.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
they can
but I
renovate
think you're,
buildings and buy equipment.
you're on the right track at the 12 and a half for 2 years. And then we come back and revisit it when we've got maybe we'll have 2 years of data of full ALS.
Right.
Right.
Or at least most,
'Cause
a
it's a
year and a
moving
half
target.
of full
Yeah.
ALS coverage and what the subsidy is.
Exactly.
But I think the,
That'll be your going rate. The rate.
But an ambulance ride?
No, the next rate. The next rate.
Wow.
count on Clippy.
Keep it up.
Yeah, keep it up. Yeah.
Good job, you
He
get,
knows what I'm saying.
Talking to his wife or something there.
but the, when are we gonna talk about high deductible plans now?
Sure.
What-
Or you wanna go
You
through
got, I
that
don't see a vote or not.
Let's,
but
yeah, I want to do a vote on this.
So I would make that motion for the
Okay.
12 and a half for two,
And I would second that.
I'll-
Starting January 1st?
starting January 1st.
For,
Okay, that sounds good?
per
Absolutely.
Okay.
year, for 2 years, 2 calendar years?
Yeah, January 1st, 2020 and 2021.
Yep.
Does that fit, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, he made a motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous, okay.
All right, so now the abatement process, which we formed back in 2016.
Yeah.
Couple things of interest. Number one, the last page.
You want to make your disclosure now, or do we already make that
We,
disclosure?
I think we've all made,
And we all filed with the.
all filed with the town
Did you get in?
clerk.
We were waiting on Doug. Doug, did you get in? Did you get it done,
Done,
Doug?
yes, I did it.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
Thank you, Doug.
Okay.
So what we had it for is a write-off process that myself and Carl writes off, and the balance of over $200, we reduced by 50% and required a payment plan. On the balance under $200, we just write it off. To me, that seems low when we compare everything and what I'm seeing hanging out there, and my suggestion would be to raise those $200 figures to the $500. So we try to do a payment plan with them for 50% over $500 and write off anything 500 and under. Second part of what I would change on this.
But that's, and let's spell it out because the press is here. And
Yeah.
that's because of a hardship.
Yeah, they file a hardship waiver
Okay,
and tell us their story
right,
in regards to, unemployment, et cetera, health issues, whatever.
right,
And they're able to do that.
right. So it's not just gonna be a stamp thing, it's a
Correct.
legitimate hardship.
Correct, they have to file with the billing company. That comes down through the chain. I review it, Carl reviews it, and then we sign off on it.
Okay.
The second part that we've gotten into a little bit, and I wanted to just throw it out there for consideration, was in the case of town employees or elected officials with those balances that we've been talking about. So we've had situations where an employee or or a volunteer, let's say, in their personal time has needed the ambulance, submitted their insurance, paid some insurance, but had a balance. And then they fall into the same thing. Is it a hardship issue? Is it not? They might have a large deductible, so they have the whole thing to pay. So on one hand, they're volunteering their time for the town, and on the other hand, the town's charging them because of the ambulance bill. Now, you can get into the argument, well, volunteers don't get dump permits or other things, but
The dump sticker.
yeah, the famous dump sticker. But this is a crisis when it happens.
Oh, absolutely it is.
And I like to put it in a different category. And I'd just like to throw it out there for consideration. And that we don't, and we only have 1 or 2 a year. That's the real thing. But
That's rare.
you're right. It would be a benefit for, when the people come to you and says, geez, I do all this stuff and then
Oh, yeah.
you're charging me for this, and
And you get it.
file a hardship,
Yeah.
and some of them qualify and some don't,
Thanks.
so. food for thought.
Yeah, because the way I read the highlighted stuff, Russ, you would have had to have your phone out when you got it transported. It said you were talking to Carl about some kind of business, and then you would have been
Mr.
an
Chairman,
elected official.
do it as
that
you
was
see fit. Oh, I wasn't gonna use it for that. I
Doing
was just
work.
gonna clock him.
At the time, not just an elected official not doing work at the time. Okay.
And then,
That's how I read
and then the third area for discussion is, do we want to employ a collection agency? You know, I think we talked about this in the past, and there's,
Comstar does the first couple
There's
of
days
rounds,
Moglen has
right?
off, I mean, he can go visit, but.
yeah.
No, but Comstar actually does
got
the
a guy.
first couple of rounds of it.
Yeah, so they send 3 rounds,
Yeah.
and then the plan is, with that, anything over $500, they would send a letter saying you need to make up a payment plan for, 50% off. We'll knock it in half and go 50%, because when you go to the collection agency, you end up upsetting everybody, and you get 10 cents on the dollar if
Yeah,
if you
understood.
do. So that, our idea was, and then some people do set up payment plans, and some just ignore you.
Yeah,
Little different, we used to handle the payment plan internally. I'd have to shift that to Comstar handling it, which I think when we met with Hannah,
Oh, yeah.
she was fine with it.
And Comstar only gets their percentage of paid
Collected.
bills, correct, collected, so that's good.
how much do you write off a year? Roughly, 2,000, 1,000?
Yeah, it's not a lot, a couple of grand tops.
Who actually come through with hardships and ask for a write-off, I'm gonna say under $5,000.
But
What?
how much that goes uncollected, that's billed and uncollected?
Right now, we're,
Tens of thousands.
it's pushing 100, you know? But that's hard to say, because the delay is so long on some of it, you know, because they sent their bill, they sent 3 letters, and we haven't heard from them. But all of a sudden, an insurance company could lock money in because it was a car accident or an estate, someone died, things like that. So, some of those things are delayed, but there is a fair amount of money that's hanging out there. And what we're seeing is more and more of those. It's no more of those $200, $300, $400 bills. Now it's $1,100, $1,400, $1,500 bills that are unpaid. And when you look at it, it says self-pay, self-pay, self-pay. So that becomes the issue.
If you just put it in terms of a medical treatment, I mean, the hospitals aren't writing a lot of this off. They are more powerful, larger legal, they go after this money. It's a big part of their collection, is their subrogation for other insurance companies and trying to make up what is, coming their way.
on the
Because
table.
again, they've been handcuffed by some of the payments from the insurance companies as well too, so they want to get as much as they possibly can. Yeah,
But
they're.
they get to, some of these hospitals get to go in and get money from the state government for uncompensated pool money. So where they're not collecting money for some of their patients, they get to get appropriations or dollars from the state budget. We don't.
They do.
We don't get that replacement.
Especially with
Correct.
some of the urban.
Every time you hear about
Right.
Yeah,
uncompensated
but there's
bills
some of
at
that.
hospitals.
And we also don't have the luxury of when you
Because
go there and, the ambulance, the screen isn't flashing, by the way, collect $55 of this guy's unpaid bill before we scoop him up out of the street, right?
Right.
You don't really have that
Or
luxury.
We have to bring.
No, they have
Yeah,
to treat
yeah,
the
I know.
person.
Being
Although in some other
semi-humorous,
states-
but
in some other
it's a
states,
thought.
they don't even actually.
What happens when you close the doors in the boxes? What
Yeah, that's
happens when
right.
you close the doors in the
But,
box?
so
You want the
hospitals,
good
hospitals
drugs.
have other remedies where they can recover their dollars. We
Yeah.
really
Well,
don't.
in some
No.
cases, yes. But I think this goes to just a, the self-pay is gonna be a continuing thing, that is
Yeah,
gonna
it's
be
not
an
going
issue to look at. As more and more employers transition to a high deductible plan and an HSA, and so they tell you that the first $5,000 or $10,000, depends on what your plan is yours, right? The math, if you run the math, says that when you switch from your plan, your current plan, to a high deductible plan, and if you continue to draw the deduction from your paycheck at the same rate you were doing it, you will fully fund or almost fully fund your HSA to make that minimum payment. Follow? So if you had, if the delta of your deduction
Right.
versus what you then route into your own HSA should satisfy your deductible if you do your payroll deductions most of the time. It's not 100%, but most of the time.
But we
So-
don't have that here, so.
I wasn't implying for town employees, but
Yeah.
Just
for the
town
average Joe, it's a
Right.
trend because the escalating cost of health insurance is making the standard old plan of, the first $500 is yours and then we cover everything else, or, you know, $10 to go see your doctor, copay type of thing. The more and more people are getting
Yeah,
into
all
these
of those
HSAs.
32B plan designs are changing all those
So-
metrics in the communities.
We do have to watch that because frankly, to be polite about it, if the person doesn't do what they should do and don't fund their HSA adequately to cover that deductible, the town shouldn't be on the hook for that money. So if you get
Yeah.
someone that is, so some of the bills you're coming that are self-pay are not uninsured, they're high deductible. And then if they didn't, either they're not paying you willfully or they didn't properly take care of their HSA the way the consultants and the math tells you should, we have to watch that.
So there's some laws going through the State House now. Blue Cross has been fighting for years now about wanting to make it a direct payment to the patient. And it's gone back and forth, and what they want you to do is join their group so they can do a reduced rate, and then they'll pay you directly. So that's been being fought at the state level. And
Exclusively, they want to leverage communities to join them exclusively.
Right.
You know, otherwise they're gonna force it by sending the money to the patient,
Right.
who won't always pay for the ambulance bill.
Then the other thing the governor's pushed back and forth is, well, what's it cost you to run
That's an
your
MMA
ambulance?
issue.
Yep.
And I think we'll be in good shape should that happen, because we subsidize 50% of what it costs us. Especially if you roll in capital expenses and all those things. You take a town that's very busy, might be a little harder to charge $2,000 for an ALS 2 call versus us, because we don't have the volume to make up the difference.
More to lose.
Right, they have more to lose than
More
we do.
exposure.
I don't know where it's all gonna end up.
Changes in law
But it,
bring them more exposure.
you know, whether it be healthcare insurance, whether it be the state, whether it be Medicare, I would say the guarantee is it's going the wrong direction as far as.
But that
whatever.
hasn't been,
Right.
No, it hasn't
they keep
moved.
proposing that, it has not been endorsed, and I don't believe the MMA has endorsed it. I know the Fire Chiefs Association
They've been
hasn't
fighting it.
endorsed it.
Yeah,
No,
they've been fighting
it's
it
a
now.
tough thing that, and you understand it from, you can see both angles of it. You know, and it's the same argument that's been going on with, hospital billing. Some hospital billing is absurd, right?
Yeah.
And especially, a guy who walks in the hospital that's uninsured, the bill he gets is ludicrous. Compared to a guy that has Tufts or Pilgrim Health or whatever, they should at least that. At the same time, it's also very different. You guys gotta be ready to go 24/7, 365 days a year. You have to staff your ambulance like you're gonna have 2 calls at once. You gotta stock your firehouse like you're gonna have a full-blown fire. That costs money. It's the same thing when you have an emergency room that's running,
It's a state of readiness.
right? You have to be ready for whatever, whenever. You can't plan for the fire or the car accident or the medicals. You can't. I get it.
Impossible.
But I don't have the answer on the insurance side, but on the high deductible, I wanted to talk to the high deductible side because I think that we have to watch that because you can't subsidize folks that didn't do what they should have done or could have had the ability to do. I know there's plenty of people that are uninsured
Hospitals
and
do that every
can't
day.
pay their bill. I get that, and there's absolutely a process for that. But for the rest, there is another subset of the people that didn't do what they were supposed to do, and that's gonna fall back on every other taxpayer in town, and
But
that's
there's
tough.
really no meter for that in place right now.
Oh, I know, but we have,
So it's
it's a
almost
trend
like-
we have to watch, because it's
Watch
gonna
it for a
become
year,
more.
watch
Our
it for
ability to
18
get
months
that information, too,
and
may
say,
be limited.
where do we stand?
Right.
Well, and that also becomes a point, and I hate to be the Grinch coming into the holiday season where the discussion around a collection agency is, yeah, you're only gonna get 10 cents on the dollar, but if you do get a payment plan out of a couple of people, maybe people will start to understand that if you just ignore, they will understand that you can't just ignore the first 3 letters and they go away. This will impact your credit, this will impact, and so the word will get out and the next guy won't do it, right? So,
All right, we got
Sorry,
three
soapbox.
issues
No, you're right there.
that have been highlighted. So, are we comfortable with making a decision tonight? Do we want to digest this?
I'm ambivalent on the town employee one. I see the dump sticker argument as well as the other, and if the guy has, I don't know how anyone, and a town employee should be treated very my personal opinion is, why should a town employee be treated any differently? Now granted, if they were in the act of doing their job here and something happened,
That's covered.
I
It's
get-
covered, yeah.
It's covered.
So, but if, God forbid, I have a car accident on my way home tonight, God forbid, like I said, and, you know, I have a high deductible plan. I'm gonna get your bill. I have to pay it. I get it. Why would I be, and
Why are you any
I'll be
better
very
than
honest,
anyone else?
putting back on my planning board hat, we asked the planning board a couple of years ago, do you guys want a stipend? Do you wanna go to MMA? Can we do something for you? They didn't wanna get paid, they didn't want a stipend, they didn't wanna even go to the MMA conference. I don't know that they
Still
even
don't. We
want
tried
this.
to- we put it in
Right,
the
we asked them
budget.
again this year.
Right.
I don't know if they'll want that. It almost feels like that obligates them more to the town. I don't know. So I'd like to think about this more. I don't know that I would, personally, I would pay it. It's part of my deal. And I serve the town to serve my town. I don't expect anything in return. Unless Ernie pulls me over.
Yeah, well, as long as you weren't on TV.
Yeah.
Well, at 22, he just gets warning,
Thank
so you don't
for
have
that.
to worry.
Right, less-
Department.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
you know.
Plus the way this is worded, you know, town employees are elected officials and you have volunteers. You know,
Yeah, what about an appointed board, like,
Right.
you know, I
You
don't
know.
wanna pick on one.
All
you know.
right, so you want to
I
hold
wanna
off
think on that
one week?
Yep.
Want to hold off 1 week?
Yeah, I
Okay.
get it.
Let's, okay, so that's one issue. The collection agency is another issue. I think you do make a good point, though, about,
The collection could still come after we try to set up the payment plan.
right,
And
right,
they-
right.
Well, you're already, like I said, you're already doing it through Comstat anyway, but this is a different, right, this is after the
This would be
Comstat stuff,
this would be a contracted collection agency.
but
Yeah.
this is after the Comstat steps.
Correct.
But the last one, I don't have any big problems with because the bills are,
Right.
you know,
Just a
when
perspective
you
change.
start chasing,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, it gets to that point where it's not beneficial. It's not worth
Exactly, we
it.
become the turnpike.
Right,
Right.
Right.
You have the
50
same
cents
thing
a post,
in all
it's a
your own
dime.
businesses.
right.
You have a
You
certain
get a
threshold
certain,
and it's a write-off.
right. You're just gonna
Oh, no,
write
they
it
come
off.
and clean dishes. There's no write-off. I got stalls to be done, things to be painted. I'm not writing off a goddamn thing.
That's true.
My-
Maybe in the
Are my
floor
property taxes a
business,
write-off?
maybe,
No, you gotta pay your property
You
taxes.
should have saw that little 12-year-old kid he had there
Hey,
chained to the sink the other day.
That was an internship. You did fine. You gotta get my elf somewhere.
All right,
Guess I won't
so,
order that turkey dinner.
Oh, we're delivering to you.
okay, so we got most of it done.
Yep.
We'll digest that.
I think I'm
This
back.
was excellent data, by the way. I
Yeah,
really
it is.
Yeah, it
appreciate
is
how it
good.
was
Thank you,
presented
gentlemen.
and laid out, because it was easily
Um,
digested.
I'm back, I think, on the 3rd with Kevin, regards to
Yes.
streets. So
Yep, he's
maybe we
coming
can-
in on the E911 upgrade, street renaming.
All right,
Yes.
so,
One more name to the retired list on that letter.
good. So we can make a decision on the 3rd and wrap
Because
it
you don't
up.
meet again till then anyway.
Correct, so that's perfect.
Okay, cool.
Everybody take the holiday week off.
Thanks.
No, I
Okay,
gotta
holiday
buy a
week?
bottle of champagne to smash. on that. No,
That's Monday, it's Monday night, you come in,
Plastic.
there's gonna be some
Be
great
prepared to
snappy
push.
pictures. So, we were back and forth on what to do because I didn't understand the push. It looked like somebody was taking a brand new fire apparatus that was
broken.
broken and pushing it back into the building. So I went on Google, which
Oh,
I
there
trust
you
with
go.
my life. And the actual backstory is that back in the day when we had horse-drawn carriages, the horses couldn't push the cart backwards. So they'd take the horses off and they'd push the cart back into the bay. So that's where that all came from. And then there was the wet down, which was like a recognition of your surrounding communities that you had a new piece. That's kind of like the official, unofficial baptism of it. So we put it out to the department. They wanted to do the push-in, so we're going to do the push-in. But with an explanation on Facebook of what it's all about. So,
Down south here, they always do a wet down. I had
Yeah.
never heard push in until.
Yeah.
Now,
here.
speaking of that, you had mentioned the end of this month, the other unit would come off the road.
The
Is
ladder.
that true?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
the older ladder.
So I need the specs on that just so that we'll,
For
because we'll get the
advertising.
title.
Yeah, what
and
is the
obviously-
process? Do
And
you have
and
a buyer for
obviously,
it?
these gentlemen know that
Yeah, I mean, we can put some leads out through one of the,
they're
Agencies.
associations. I
Yeah.
want you to be doing that. I want you to be telling people to
but
get ready to.
you'll
bid
do an
on it.
RFP with a,
We just do a legal ad, so
Okay.
we're pretty much free to go anywhere
Yeah.
else outside of that. Just to say, a sealed bid comes on this day.
Okay, all right.
okay? Because it's not an auction.
We'll get hold of Brinley and they can deal with what they want,
Yeah, okay.
you know.
So we're gonna throw a couple of the, you know, surplus vehicles. We have old cruisers and old pool
Yeah,
cars,
that,
an old lawnmower.
But that would be a great thing for the 250th. You know, we could decorate it and put it in the parade. The 250th could probably raise the money to buy it.
By the ladder truck?
The
Oh,
old truck?
yeah, yeah.
There's antiques,
It's going in a
and then there's
freighter.
not antiques.
Can they get the old one ready for the 250 parade?
We're working on it right now.
It
It
still
was-
runs. It's still in good shape. The old one.
Except for the water and the oil, but other than
Yeah.
Hey, 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 hey.
Change
It
the oil.
did what it needed
There's a
to
little
do.
water in your oil at
Right.
this stage of
And
your game.
the reality is, the truck
wow.
itself, the latter portion of it is very solid and has a value. If somebody's looking for a bridge till their new piece comes in, reserve piece, it could certainly do that.
Other
Something that doesn't
countries that
allow,
don't
With
a
the
care.
flat
ISO
town,
credit.
a flat town, right,
The
ISO
ISO
credit,
credit?
so
Yeah,
you might get something along those
It's an
lines.
amazing thing, these ISO credits. Just call it another ladder, keep it in the bay, you'll get insurance credit
Right.
for it.
And then you qualify for grant money too. But the Fox was running the other day.
Really?
It shakes
Wow.
the building. It is
Yeah.
beautiful. Oh
Well,
my goodness.
I've been a
The-
selectman now for
I haven't
5
seen
years
nothing run in
almost, and I
years.
haven't seen it
The,
run
the
yet. so
timing
God
is,
bless.
they're working on the timing right now, so something's not right. They're just trying to figure out.
Figure it out.
Because it's
What's
old,
that,
it's hard to work on.
26 or 28?
24 or 23, I forget.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad they got.
So,
I'm glad that
it's
they've
running,
gotten back on
um,
it too. Because I was
they're-
nervous with some of
they
the
have
other
to get
guys
a-
leaving that might fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
That'd be great to have that for the
But it's-
250 and
right,
for
absolutely.
other events.
We had
That's
hoped to
the
have
goal.
it for some of the Christmas parades this year, but it just, we ran out of time, and this problem is a little, they're still trying to figure it out, because it's old. It's not like you were working on your 68 Chevy, you
Do we
know.
have any guys in town that can help them on that?
Sure, there are.
Diesel guy?
Aaron's not a diesel. That's a gas powered.
Gas.
It's a gas powered, so it's just a timing thing. So once they get it figured out, and,
It's a flathead in there, right?
no, I don't know what it is.
No,
actually.
it's old
It's
Magneto.
big.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's the-
magnetos, and
Okay,
it's
you
big.
can see the valves. their
Trust me, the
exterior
rumble
valves.
is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oil
It's impressive.
Jack Macchio.
Yeah.
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 We should put that engine in the El Camino, see how fast.
Anyway,
We're fine.
sorry to.
We'll see you on
All
the
right, thanks,
3rd. Thank you
everybody.
very much.
See you then.
We'll be pushing
see you
it
next
more than
week.
one.
Oh, yeah, Monday. We'll see you Monday.
Monday, yeah.
There you go.
Monday.
Seven
We'll see you
p.m.
Friday.
Friday.
We'll see you Friday for certain things.
Yeah.
And then Monday for the blessing
For the
of the ark. Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good night. All right.
Kudos to them for getting that ladder to the finish line. Just when we've signed a PO on the new ladder, we
Yeah,
knew we were
remember-
18 months and we sweated every minute of it, but it made it.
We were gonna have to rent something else, I remember that.
Right.
So we saved a lot of general condition money.
Huge, huge money.
All right, back to the action folder.
$1,000 a month to rent
Yep.
one.
We have a press release. This is from the superintendent of schools, Southwick Tolland Granville Regional School Committee and the Southwick Select Board
Must be
invite
for the swing
interested citizens of Southwick to join the school committee. If you are a registered voter in the town of Southwick would like to be considered to fill a recent vacancy on the regional school committee, please send a letter of interest and resume to Jennifer C. Willard, Superintendent. Deadline for application is 4 p.m. on Monday, December 2nd.
Right, and you'll be meeting the candidates and interviewing them with the school committee jointly at your December 10th meeting.
Okay.
Here or over there?
Here.
Okay, thank you.
Because you've
Here,
got Lieutenant
elected
Landis coming, you've got
town
other agenda
officials.
appointments. You're gonna be signing the bond issue awards,
Okay.
so the bonds have been awarded.
Yeah.
Okay, this also came from Southwick Regional School, and it's a Wreath Across America. We've been involved with that in the past. I'm trying to see here. It looks like, the students are getting involved with this.
Right, they're trying to raise $750 by the end of November.
Okay, but anybody remember what we gave the last time? I see 250 on here. Is that what we gave the last
I
time?
have no idea who
I can
wrote
double
that.
check
I
it.
don't know, and I don't know who we gave it to. I know we had someone come in front of us.
It's
It
a different organization.
was a different organization at
It
the
was
time.
still Wreath Across.
No, definitely Reefs Across
North
America.
I think
America.
it was the Young Marine, wasn't it?
Oh,
No?
I think you're right, it
It might have
was.
been,
Yes, yes, it was.
The
Okay.
lady?
yes,
Lady?
Yep.
Lady? Lady?
Davidson.
Yeah, you're right, it was.
Ainsley.
Thank you.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
Okay, so somebody put 250 on here. Does anybody know who
I
put
don't know.
250
I
on
thought
there?
that was just a celebration of the town.
So
I,
moved.
I put that on there.
Oh, okay.
So
It-
moved.
I did.
So we have a motion to donate from the gift account.
The gift
not from the
account.
taxpayers.
Right.
Of $250
In honor of our 250th birthday.
for our fallen veterans.
Absolutely.
So this is a perfect fit, 250
Right.
for our fallen veterans. So we got a motion made,
I'll
second.
second that, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll initial it. All right. Now let's go back to 6A, which was to look at our schedule for December, no, January and February. Do we have a calendar or we don't have a calendar?
Well, Doug's got his right in front of you.
Okay. So
So we can start with January, so we would
Okay.
probably do like,
we'd meet the 7th.
right, you want to do the 14th, because you got a holiday here, but that's still, you got the MMA here,
Well, when is that event?
right
The
here.
24th, so we'll do the
Oh, I don't have that on my
14th.
calendar.
We
Yeah.
will not meet the 21st because we'll be going to the MMA. We'll meet the 28th.
Okay,
All right. So she is looking for January 6th, so tell her January 7th for one day.
okay, and then the
Those are-
February dates?
You said Tuesdays are perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't be going to MMA, but
Okay.
yeah, we're
You're
off
okay with
Tuesdays.
Tuesdays?
Tuesdays and Thursdays we're closed.
That's right, because you're at Blandford, right?
Blandford, yeah.
Okay.
Blam.
All right, flip the calendar. Does it go to February?
No, I don't think
So what-
Past
what do you
vacation
got?
week.
We're-
6,
we're
So we
looking
got
for
7,
the-
14, 28 of
7th,
January.
14th, 28th.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one doesn't.
It doesn't.
No,
Right.
So then the next day after 28th is the 4th of February.
that's the week later. Do you want the 4th or the 11th?
Well,
Gotta stay away from the Rose Day, right?
that's right.
Friday the 14th.
Friday the 14th.
Okay, so we meet on the
Restaurants will
4th.
do well.
4th?
We need to take a break on the 11th. So then the 18th and 25th.
Sure.
Okay.
And fit her in. She was talking about the 10th
Yep,
or and the 17th.
yep.
So we could do the 4th and the 18th.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll give her these dates right here, and then
Okay.
she'll make them work.
All right?
Now you're
Is that good?
February
Yeah.
good?
Perfect.
Yeah.
That good? All
Yeah.
right.
And then in January, we can look at March.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, March 17th is out.
Wait a second. Wait a
It's a
second.
national holiday.
It's a national holiday.
And it's
So
a Tuesday.
we might as well set it.
Too.
And then, yeah, that,
Well, you're already into March. You want to do March?
We might as well do
Might as
March
well
the
do
3rd,
March.
the 10th. We skip the national holiday,
24th.
the 24th and the 31st.
it's my sister's birthday.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine?
We might
Okay.
be gone a week
What
on the
day is the
31st.
national holiday?
17th.
17th. When's the
3rd,
Super Bowl?
10th, and 24th, Doug, right?
Oh,
The
when is it?
Super Bowl is the
Right.
first Sunday
3rd,
in
10th, and
February.
24th.
Oh, is it that
Be
long?
the
Okay.
second. Second or the 9th?
All right, good.
3rd, 10th, and 24th,
It would be the 2nd of February.
3rd,
3, 10, 24,
31st.
31.
31st.
3, 10, 24, 31.
Okay.
All right, so we got those 3 months
Yeah,
set,
very good then.
and we can give that to
To everybody.
Erica.
Well, we
And
got
then we
hearings
need
and
to get-
schedules, and you're gonna be rotating in
Right.
departments, so this will give us our ability to do.
Right. Well, why don't we get a jump on it, since it's gonna be December very quickly. Notify the major departments that we'd like a brief kind of thing.
Police, fire, and public works.
Right, on their proposed budget, so we can go over
We'll
things.
do that in January.
Potential
Right.
spam.
Yeah, it'd be good to do it all in January
Yeah.
and get a jump on it.
Okay.
All right, so there's that, Cindy. All right, so we've crossed off everything on that. Doug, is that right? All right, going to old business. We have the holiday gathering for town employees, elected officials, volunteers, and family.
Retirees.
Retirees, it's open.
Yep.
Okay, we gotta emphasize that, it's 5 to 7. It would be nice if people could kind of RSVP somehow. I know it's tough.
I
It
mean,
won't happen.
Well, we can try to,
we always
you
have
know.
food left over.
Right, you know, you hate to waste the food.
The cops take care of it.
Okay. Okay, the Southwick Police Department information, Lieutenant Landis is supposed to be coming in.
Yep, on the civil fingerprinting policy.
And when's he coming in?
Third.
December 3rd?
No, he's
Just
coming
say
in
this-
the 10th.
The 10th. Okay, so we'll see him on December
Both
10th.
chiefs are coming in about the road thing on the 3rd.
Okay. This Thursday, we have a meeting with the superintendent
Yep.
on the
School
roundtable, the budget process required
This
by
Thursday?
the
Yep.
regional
Towns of
agreement.
Holland, Granville, and Southwick.
At 5:30?
Okay.
Yep.
There is a community food pantry fundraiser. Deb, right? Thursday,
Yep, I'm going.
6 to 8 p.m., Westfield River Brewery. They picked up the tickets too early. People were in looking for tickets all
I
afternoon.
was gonna come see you tomorrow.
I got tickets.
You know, I don't know who picked them up, but the phone's been ringing, people have been coming in looking for tickets, and
There's no more tickets.
and there's no those tickets.
They've got to go back.
Right. They picked them up way too early.
They're 30 at the door, though. You can get them at the door.
You can get them at the door, but the deal is you save $5 and that gets more people in.
Right
Yeah.
here.
All the places you can pick up.
Flower shop?
Yep.
All right.
Hopefully we'll have more tickets at the flower shop for tomorrow.
Yep.
Deb's gonna give me 3 right now. Okay. Matter of fact, Doug's gonna
I'm
give
gonna
you the
buy
money
one from
right
you.
now. Okay, vacancy on the school committee, so we'll have those interviews here
Yep.
on the 10th of December, and that's a joint thing between the Southwick members of the region and the Southwick Select Board, and it's
Correct.
to
It's the
appoint.
remaining members of the Southwick.
Right, and it's to appoint the person to fill the remaining years of the vacancy,
Years.
not to the
remaining
next.
term.
Remainder of the term.
Not,
Remainder of
not
the
to
term.
the next
Not to the-
election.
Unlike any other one.
Correct. What do you need?
I need
I
5
got
hours.
nothing. I ordered a coffee to drive through. I had nothing.
What do you need? You
You
want
haven't had
Boy, I
good
look like
I
a...
owe you $5.
There you go.
One, I'll give the other ones to Russ.
Thank you very much.
All right, Fire Association, we've been invited as fire commissioners, and that's 12/16 at 6 p.m. at the
Monday.
American Legion. It's a Monday.
Yeah, and then you have a meeting this night, but this will be one of those like short consent agenda type meetings
Okay,
on the 17th.
right.
And then you won't be meeting Christmas Eve.
We
or
will
New Year's.
not be meeting
And that's why
Christmas
you've already
Eve.
been scheduled here. Okay?
What
Okay?
time is the fireman's thing? 6?
Yeah.
Okay.
They usually have the ugly sweater contest.
Oh, we haven't been,
Doug, you were a...
I was a judge.
okay. Old business, Mr. Steinhardt?
Oh, we have an invitation from the Council on Aging Director to help with the Sand for Seniors program. It's going to be this Saturday, November 23rd at 9 a.m. And they're going to be having, have people pick up buckets of sand and then bring them to different senior citizens' homes so that they can have sand to put in their walkways.
All right,
So I'm going to be going.
I'll be there.
You're going to be going?
okay.
I can make it. I'll take the big truck. The lift gate.
All right, I have to work, so I'm gonna let you.
We got
you
this.
Three
You
guys.
don't worry about it, Mr.
Okay.
Fox. We got
I'd
this.
probably hurt my back anyway.
Yeah,
you know.
judging by how
Well,
we're gonna bill.
the town's not
Being
picking
the-
up the ambulance ride.
Being the senior member of the board.
Sand.
Right.
I-
They can buy a dog too.
Right.
All right, now you even got hope going
The
on it.
handicap sticker
All right,
barrel has to be
all
dropped off at
right,
Mr. Fox's
Okay.
house.
You know, there should be, at this year's holiday party, there could be a medieval theme.
Yeah.
Stop.
Any other old business, Mr. Steinhardt?
I'm good, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Moglen?
Yes, I was remiss last week. I forgot to tell you that I did, and the chief and half the Southwick Police Department attended the graduation for Officer Kelly Parks, who graduated the academy with honors on her birthday and got engaged the same day. But very well attended. We received many compliments from other area communities of the number of people that we brought for our one academy graduate. But very proud of Ms. Parks for persevering through the academy, doing an excellent job as a reservist, and now she is working as a full-time member of our police department.
Yeah,
And that's one of the members that this board put on as a reservist probably 3 years ago.
I did ask the chief to invite her in. You might want to remind him of that so that we could congratulate her at a public meeting.
Sure, I mean, since he'll be here, him and Lance, they'll all be here on the 3rd.
That would be a beautiful time to do it. And thank you for sending the pictures.
Yep, it was great. It was really a very
great.
great ceremony.
Right. All right, any other old business?
How are we gonna do a medieval theme?
All right, moving right along, I would like to mention that the 250th did have their kickoff Sunday, the banner walk, very successful. I want to thank Mr. Steinhardt and his wife for helping out, all the other volunteers. Doug was there, Joe for hot chocolate. It was just a nice way to kick off. And I'm looking forward to the holiday tree lighting, December 7th.
The bliss.
And then the big event, December 31st.
Well, don't forget the house lighting on the, you get
right?
that in there.
We got to get the house
Gotta get
lighting.
more people involved with that house lighting.
And even if you don't
Even though I'm gonna win, but that's fine, we still gotta get involved.
Even if you don't enter, I think everybody should light up their houses this year, because this is a special year. And
trying to get
Mr. Putnam
sponsors.
is in contact with a village of Southwick, England. So
cool.
we're
is neat.
building up a rapport with that village, and
I'll volunteer to go,
you know,
bring them here.
One
you know,
way.
right.
That's
One
true.
way.
So
But we won't have Air Force One, we'll have Southwick One.
Southwick one. So, anyways,
Which is the old ladder.
The old
truck.
ladder truck.
Over the pond.
Yeah.
all right. So, I think that's it for old business. We're going to new business.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, we are finalizing the bond prospectus for the long-term borrowing. And of course, that long-term borrowing is an aggregate of several years' worth of short-term borrowings for the water meters, the water line, the water pump station, the 2 fire trucks, of which one has already been delivered and one is being worked on now and is going to be delivered next spring,
Yeah.
the pumper.
Pumper.
And then the DPW dump truck, the $2 million for the road work, that is about a third into that. Randy did about a third of that this year, and he's gonna finish the other third next year. And then the $1.2 million land acquisition for North Pond,
Okay.
the citizen petition.
Okay.
So it's about 10.4 million. So we're going to be having a conference call with Moody's Rating Service this Thursday and our financial advisor. And then we'll be finalizing the prospectus, and then they'll be soliciting the bids for the money, because this is all about getting all of this money to pay all these bills at the lowest cost,
Correct.
which then becomes debt service, or as Doug calls it, an amortization schedule.
There you go.
So that's all underway, and you will then have to take a series of votes at your December 17th meeting to sign off, vote, award everything, and then the short-term, the proceeds will be deposited on the 17th, and the short-term notes that we borrowed to do all these things expire on the 18th, and they will have been paid back.
Okay.
So that is your responsibility under borrowing laws, because when town meeting, gives you these votes, they authorize you to do these borrowings, so.
Bring your good
I've
pen.
been working on this process
Yeah.
with the town treasurer collector and the town accountant.
Good.
Okay?
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Any other new business?
No.
All right. I have one thing before I forget it, and then I'll ask the other board members again. We had a volunteer for the 250th, Kirk H. Sanders, who came to the meeting last night and still wants to be a volunteer. And
We hustled him, yeah.
And if somebody will stay there till after 9 o'clock, we want him on there.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Cindy, fill out the necessary paperwork and we'll hook them up. Doug, any new business?
I have a request. The High Speed Internet Committee met again last Monday, yesterday, and they want permission to have a link on the homepage for the town to a survey that they are going to be constructing, that hopefully they'll get some feedback from some residents on potential services and costs and thoughts and what they're paying today, kind of stuff.
I think
But I
that's
think they need approval from the Board of Selectmen in order to do that.
Absolutely.
Motion,
Motion made.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Cindy, you
okay.
got that motion?
You,
Yep.
Okay.
All right, Joe, any new
Want to make
business?
sure it's in the
I can't
All
do
right.
that.
new business.
Do we need to have an
No.
executive session? Okay, then we will not be meeting next week because of the holiday week. We will be meeting again December 3rd.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very efficient meeting, sir.
All right.